Hello, friends. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got 4 decks. We've got a Supergiant, a Black Swan. We've got the number 1 and 2 deck. That's the same deck. And then the number 4 deck from Infinite Ladder last season. We've got custom cards, bundle reviews, so much more. This episode's gonna be completely freaking jam-packed. We're gonna be here for a little bit, so get nice and cozy and let's talk. First, our Season Pass giveaway has winners. I decided to give away an extra one from yesterday's video because yesterday's comments weren't for a giveaway, so only the real ones commented. So we've got our 6 winners. We got Brian Chapman, I Am Lil C, Pretty Chill, Alex Villardo, Mr. Silverbutton, and Stephen J. If you are one of these people, please email me at snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com and I will tell you how to get your season pass. We're still giving away 4 more on the YouTube during this week. I'll tell you when. It's not this video, or is it? Because we just gave away a random one on yesterday's video, right? Yes, I am trying to trick you into commenting more to help engagement and fight that YouTube algorithm. Thank you for noticing. All right, our 5 Twitter winners have, I believe, all actually contacted me and claimed their pass already. But we have Crop Monk and Roth the Boz, Viguete, and Hen. Congratulations, they all got Twitter DMs, they all replied and got their season pass. I've given away a bunch of season passes already, so happy to do so again. We're giving away 4 more, and then we're like less than 150 from 9,000, and we're going to give away some more when we hit 9,000. Sorry about that, excuse me. We have a league that we have begun. Check the Patreon, patreon.com/snapjudgments. $1 is all it takes to enter. The $1 is only for overhead in the league. We are giving away prizes. You'll be put into a pod with major content creators. We're announcing some new creators every day. Today, we're announcing the one and only, the great Drew Berry. So if you are a Berryverse member, you need to get in there. We also have Docty. The awesome Docty. These are my 2 favorite creators who do like new card content along with It's Guest Gaming. So I guess we might as well tell you, Guest is in too. They will be competing in this tournament. You can be on their streams, be on their channels playing them. You can be a part of Marvel Snap history. All you have to do is join the Patreon, and then the Patreon will direct you to the Discord, and then you can sign up for the tournament. We start March 2nd, so get on that Patreon now. It's only $1. Think about all the crap you waste $1 on. You get a game a week, so it's totally manageable, and you get to compete in a cool tournament. It's a great deal. Hopefully you sign up. And I think I've given you enough reasons to subscribe. We also get like the exclusive decks sooner than everyone else. We get the best decks. A lot of the best players in the game send me their decks to feature before anyone else has them. So we get really cool decks before other people do. So if you like the idea of that, stealing cubes before other people know what's what, then this is the right place for you. All right. Our outline is completely insane today. So the important stuff. Check out Bradsifer. Bradsifer is our first deck. He's the Supergiant deck. I played it. You'll see Bradsifer's win rate with it, and I'll tell you my win rate with it as well, and what I thought of it. Then we're going to do our custom card reviews for Cosmic Marvel and announce our next contest. Then we've got a deck from our friend Docty. Just told you about Docty. Docty made our Black Swan list. Then we're going to review 2 bundles. Then we've got Poggy Bonzi and .geo, the number 1 and 2 player in Infinite Ladders deck. This was created by an Italian streamer named Desert Fox, who you can find on twitch.tv/googly. Please check these people out. They're wonderful people, fluent in English. And they're all on Twitter, and Googly is on both Twitter and Twitch. Check them out. They're really kind people. And look, the number 1 and 2 player that play together, they're friends. That's really cool. Then we'll do We Vote Wednesday, where you choose a card for us to feature later in this week in a video. We end with a Shuri Enjoyer, which is I didn't write Shuri Enjoyers. It's twitter.com/Shuri Enjoyer, by the way. I didn't write the last bit of that, excuse me. But we have Shuri Enjoyer's deck last of all, and then we'll end with shop and shoutouts as you do. All right, we're not going to do this today. We have some really specific reminders for you, but we'll get to those tomorrow because today is going to be intensely long. So Greg is fun, asked me to define high roll, curve, and tilt. So a high roll is the best thing your deck can do. A high roll is you're playing a Black Knight deck and you get a 20 power shard out and you're playing into Lockjaw at the end of the game, and then not only did you get that 20 power shard out, you discarded another couple cards, and then you play Jubilee into Hela and it grabs you a Magneto, which moves Ms. Marvel right, and Hella brings back all your big stuff in the perfect places. High roll is just getting lucky with all the best stuff your decks can do. Some decks have really, really powerful high rolls, think Mr. Negative, think Hella. Some decks have sort of mid-rangey high rolls, think Darkhawk. Curve is playing cards when you want to. Zabu on 2 is playing him on curve. It's playing him when you would expect to see the card. Simple enough. Like, if you see the card on curve, you're playing it when you want to. Some cards are only good on curve and not otherwise, right? You don't really care if you see Sarah on turn 3. You want Sarah exactly on turn 5. You can draw or play on curve. Drawing Sarah on turn 5 and playing Sarah on turn 5 is playing Sarah on curve and drawing her on curve. If you see Sarah on turn 6, if you top deck Sarah on turn 6, unless there's a magic or a limbo out, that is useless to you. Some cards are fine a turn later, right? If you draw Darkhawk on turn 5, you're usually not upset. And finally, tilt is when you've lost some games or when something goes wrong and you get in your own head and you feel like you can't win. A lot of players really struggle with tilt because Marvel Snap is a game that's ultimately about gambling. And when you're gambling, you often get in your own head and start to doubt yourself and you start to go, oh my God, I can't win. Oh my God, the game is fixed. Everything is rigged. Everything's out to get me. And when you do this, what happens, because we are all human beings, at least to the best of my knowledge, your brain starts to see patterns where they are not, and it starts to see negative patterns where they are not. And you start to convince yourself that it's all RNG and all pure luck, even though that's very, very obviously not the case. Bet Chris asks how I have time to make content. The honest to God answer is I probably don't. Like, I don't have any kind of leisure time anymore. I play the game less than I have in a long time. All right, my schedule, basically. Wake up, go to work. At work, I either teach a class, I do union stuff, or I'm trying to grade, or I'm dealing with kids' stuff. Kids have so much stuff. Teenagers are not undramatic people, just for the record. So I do that until after school. I pick up my son from after school. I usually get to him about 3:30. I pick him up, come home. He does homework. I start to do immediate prep work while he's doing homework. If he doesn't need help, if he needs help, then the prep work has to wait for the video. I help him with his homework, then we play for a little bit. Often now he's about to be 8. He's like a month away from being 8. Wow, that's the statement that hit me. He's a month away from being 8, so sometimes he'll like play Switch on his own or something, and I don't play with him as much. Or sometimes he'll be like, I'm gonna read a book, and then I can do prep work. But usually what happens is we hang out until about 6. My wife gets home about 5:30. She cooks dinner. I would cook. It's not a masculinity thing. It's a I don't know why, but my brain break cooking thing. I know that sounds bad, but like I wish I could make it up. I try to cook for her, and she's like, "Please get away from me." And sorry, but so wife cooks. We eat dinner. At that point, we usually settle in to watch TV show. We're watching X-Men Evolution right now. We watch about 1 to 2 episodes of TV a night. During that, I do most of the prep work for this. I usually, just through being around on the day on Discord, on Twitter, have a decent idea of where things are going. So I build this around while we're watching the show. We're also in our rewatch of Boy Meets World. So whatever we watch, after we're done with that, I put him to bed. As he's going to bed, my wife goes to read with him for a little bit, and at that point, I get most of the rest of the prep work for this done. She comes out, we hang out, we watch TV until about 10ish. At that point, she goes to bed. I finish up, so hopefully I don't have to do it while I'm watching. I finish up my prep work, and then I do the video usually about 10:30. I make the video, I upload the video, I post it to the Patreon, I immediately go to sleep. That's when people are like, "Can you do timestamps?" I'm like, no. Sorry. I sleep 6 hours a night. It's real precious to me. All right. Your USD asks my favorite US fast food and my order at said restaurant. So buckle in. This is a complicated answer. My favorite, like classic fast food. What you're talking about is either Wendy's or Taco Bell. So I don't consider they're the same food, but they're not really the same category, right? Okay. So at Wendy's, I usually get one of the spicy chicken sandwiches. It depends which one I'm in the mood for. I alternate between spicy chicken sandwiches and I get a single junior bacon cheeseburger. I love junior bacon cheeseburgers because when I was in high school and me and all my friends were broke, we would gather all our loose change and as much money as we had, and sometimes someone would have like a 20, including me, right? We would just get that many junior bacon cheeseburgers and fries, and the rule was you eat what you eat. So I still eat super fast to this day because the first time I went out with that group of friends that I'm still friends with, one's my son's godfather, one's my son's swim instructor, I ate like a burger and like 4 fries, and they were like done. I was like, what the hell just happened? They were like, rules. And that was the rules. That was just always the rules. Um, I probably like Taco Bell better, but I would willing to eat it less. I don't eat Taco Bell when I want Mexican food. Everyone's like, it's not Mexican food. Yeah, no shit. Wendy's isn't real burgers either. Um, but I really enjoy Taco Bell. I get a soft taco supreme, and then I get like one of whatever special thing they have. Nacho fries are fantastic. Um, I'm not going to do the burger conversation between In-N-Out, Five Guys, and Shake Shack right now, but someone should ask me about that because I've got another essay about that in my head waiting to come out. But the right answer, by the way, and just in terms of general fast food for like your casual, regular places, I'm talking like the big chains, not local ones, is Wendy's versus Taco Bell. And they're totally different things you get when you're in totally different moods. But the ultimate mood for fast food is I'm hungry and I don't want to get out of my car. If you'd like your question read in tomorrow's video, please leave one in the comments. We've got plenty, and I always try and answer literally anything I can. All right, our first deck is Giant Woman Prio, and this deck is freaking phenomenal. I won 71% of my games with it in like 12, 13 games, but this is important. I only got 6 Qs because everyone just ran away. Uh, I was not playing a lot of bots with this. I was playing mostly people, but 70% against mostly people is really good, right? But my Q rate was so low because Daredevil plus Supergiant is freaking terrifying. If you see Daredevil and Supergiant, like, I know what you're playing on turn 5. It's just, it feels so over. I could also fairly often go Atuma Martyr or Ms. Marvel Martyr on turn 5. And that's just like a ton of power. I don't think they don't know I have that, right? But it's just a crazy, crazy amount of power. Basically, grab priority, play Supergiant, play big cards, Goliath. Arrow's also phenomenal. Just having a 5/9 is really good. They'll often just be like, "I'm gonna Shang where you put that card because you're gonna have prio," and it's like if it's an arrow, that's fine, or if it's whatever card plus Martyr, it's fine. This is Martyr's best deck ever by a lot. I think this deck is really, really strong. All right, so Nebula can be Jeff or Nightcrawler here. Nebula is great. You play it blind. Martyr is huge here, but you can try Titania, which is way worse. I think this is the best deck for Martyr ever. Gladiator could need to be Polaris. Again, way worse. Losing 3 power, that's a ton. And this needs both Supergiant and Goliath. Now, one more thing here. I'm actually going to go back. I'm not sure 0 is important here. 0 is the like swing card here. I don't know what you'd run for 0 yet, but 0 does not feel terribly important or impactful. You're using it. You can use it on Atuma, but you're playing on curve, so it's hard. So you're really mostly using it on Martyr, and you usually just have enough power that doesn't feel necessary in any way, shape, or form. I've only ever seen Martyr move on people's streams. She has literally never moved for me. All right, so I went our friend Bradsifer, who you should check out on youtube.com/Bradsifer, at Bradsifer, whatever. And Bradsifer is on Twitch as well, created this. It's great. Sorry, very quickly. You need Supergiant and Goliath. You can't play this without them. It's built for them. All right. So Bradsifer went 29-7 with 75% win rate and a 0.2 cube rate. I went with like a 0.1 cube rate, but I also had a 70% win rate in about 10 games. So my cube rate was ridiculously lower because, again, everyone was running. No one was staying in on stats. Everyone was completely respecting my deck, which was frustrating, right? I was going to win if they stayed in, but I couldn't get them to stay. Maybe Bradsifer was going sooner. Bradsifer, by the way, says there were 6 spots in his 27-9. So if you want to call that a 21-9, that's still a great win rate. And I played, I think, 1 bot in my 10 games. Okay. Nebula over Martyr on turn 1. You only really want to play Nebula on turn 1 if you have another option. You basically never play Nebula on turn 2. Martyr is great in this freaking deck, but you'd really like to Martyr on turn 5 if possible, because then she can't move. You only 0 if you're definitely martyring next turn, I guess you just don't 0 then, right? Like, because then you can just go 0 martyr on 2 if that's what your 2 ends up being. So Daredevil, better than Medusa, better than 0 plus martyr. Turn 3 is based on board. Mr. Fantastic or Gladiator for prio, whichever one is more likely to get you prio. If they're playing a lot of little things, Mr. Fantastic doesn't do a great job at getting prio. If they played either 1 or nothing, it looks like they're playing bigger cards. Then Mr. Fantastic is amazing for prio. You should play him. Whichever one gets you priority is the one you play. If Gladiator misses, please feel free to run. Next turn is almost always Supergiant. You will play him as Marvel if you don't have Supergiant, but you would very much prefer to be the one playing Supergiant here. Supergiant is unfreaking believably good in this deck. She feels OP in it, bluntly. Like when you play her, it feels like it's really hard to lose. So you want to Attunement Martyr or Ms. Marvel Martyr if you can. And Arrow is a perfectly fine backup plan. I suppose there's probably turns where you can like Medusa and Gladiator, which is still 13 power, but I did not run into any. I was always going Attunement Martyr, Ms. Marvel, Arrow were like my main plays. And then turn 6, Eliath over Arrow. If you maintained Prio, Arrow's going to pull that turn 4 play, which is worth remembering. Cool. Yeah, Eliath just wins games with this deck. If you can read where they're going to play at all, and you usually can because they've played a bunch of cards, and even if they're face down, like they're assuming that they can compete in that lane usually, right? You drop Eliath elsewhere, you've already got Prio, and the game is over. You enjoy your cubes. Why isn't this not letting me click? There we go. All right, we've got our hip counter. We got Nebula, we got Martyr, we got Medusa, we got Ms. Marvel, Gladiator, Attuma, and Eliath. That's 7. Eventually we'll have that Arrow, and it'll be 8. We also have my favorite variant in Marvel Snap, Daredevil, and one of my newest variants in Zero. So that's awesome. I'm pretty happy with the look of this one. All right, we're on to our custom card of the week. This is our Drewberry Berry vs. People. And remember, Drewberry is competing in the Snap Judgments League. So if you want to compete with the likes of Drewberry, the great Drewberry Snap, check snapjudgments.com/Patreon, $1. Get on the Patreon. The Patreon will link direct you to the Discord, and then you'll be in the tournament. You'll be in the league. You get to play with some of the greatest players in Marvel Snap. Our keyword was synergy with a different Cosmic card. Our theme was Captain Marvel. And if you would like to compete in this, join Drewberry's Discord. Link is in the description to this video. And if you would like to build custom cards of your own, snaptracker.me/custom. All right. The first card is my favorite. It's Virens. It is 2/5. At the end of each turn, if you are winning this location, your opponent draws a card. So this wants to be in Ronin and Sarah decks, right? You mostly play it on turn 5, where you don't care, or you play it in Ronin decks, where you just want them to have an extra card at the end of the game, but it's reverse Adam Warlock, and it's so cool. This is like perfect synergy for Adam Warlock, where like you could even just play this on Adam Warlock and say, all right, so I'm probably going to get a draw or 2 out of this, and they're going to get a draw or 2 out of this, and then they have to decide if they want to stop both of you from drawing or not. And that seems really cool. I love this card. This, again, seems absolutely phenomenal in Sarah decks. Props to it. I don't think it goes anywhere but Ronin and Sarah decks, but I think it's more than good enough in those 2 decks. All right, next up we have Chronos, which is Leo Chase, the Myth Master. Leo says, on reveal, fill your hand with cards from your discard and destroy piles. So cool. So cool. I love it because it's Chronos, which is a time master, so he's sort of reversing time to get these cards back. So it seems really good with destroy decks, right? You can get back like a whole big combo at the end of the game, and even if you didn't see exactly what you wanted, you should be fine. It also says if they early Shang-Chi'd your Venom or whatever, you get that Venom back, for example, which seems just silly good. You can get it like if you discard Hela accidentally, just grab that Hela back, no big deal. Have a great time. You might not have time to discard again otherwise, but Magic decks you would, right? And then we've got our our new Destroy Ramp decks with Corvus Glaive coming later this month, and this card seems like it would be amazing with Corvus Glaive. You Corvus Glaive, you get rid of whatever, you bring it back with Chronos, you go to town. Props to Leo Chase the Mythmaster, who also has this really cool variant that I totally want. I want this variant very, very badly, and this is one of my favorite cards. I also think 5/7 is a good stat line for it. This feels Legion-ish to me. Our last winner, maybe. Oh, wait. We only did 2 this week. Sorry, my bad. All right. Next, our keyword for next week. This ends Monday, 2/13. Then we're going to have to take a week off because I'm going to be away the week after that for part of the week. We're still going to have videos. Fear not. But I don't know if we can do custom cards for that week. So our keyword is 5 cost, and we're doing some Eternals. They're like no Eternals in the game. We know they're coming. 5 cost is probably the weakest cost slot outside of maybe 1 in all of Marvel Snap. I want some good 5 cost cards. I'd like them to be built around, but I want 5 costers, and I want them to be the Eternals. Cool. Remember, if you'd like to participate, check out Drewberry's Discord. All right, next up we have Doc D Bounce. Our friend Doc D is cool. He's just a wonderful, kind person over on Twitter right now. Every day he's thanking a different person in the Marvel Snap community, and he's so kind and wonderful, and it's a real feel-good for everyone who gets it. I at mine, which is not the reason I'm saying it's real feel good, but it totally is. I know Black Swan says it's a 2/3, but you know what? I'd feel worse about that if Second Dinner didn't release the damn card as a 2/3 by accident because they changed its power and cost solely in the game. Okay, so this deck has been freaking nuts. I've always thought it's really hard to play Hitmonkey and Werewolf together. Black Swan is the synergy that lets you play both. You don't really have room for other things, but the tech cards are great, right? Because even if you're playing a bunch of 0-cost ones, 2/3 0-cost ones, and then Shang-Chi and Enchantress, or Shang-Chi, sorry, or Enchantress with your Hitmonkey at the end of the game, because of Zabu, you win, right? It's super good. It's so, so strong. I love this deck. Here's how much. Oh, wait, we're not at how much I love this deck. Let's do replacements, then we'll talk about how much I love this deck. So, 1, go get Zabu. 2, Nico can be Spider-Ham or Hawkeye. Werewolf and Monkey are needed. Don't replace them, please. They're the power for the deck. And I'm honestly not sure if Black Swan can be Bishop or not. Black Swan has seemed really, really underwhelming. I played her as a 3/5 in the deck. I did not have time to play when she was a 2/3. But she seemed really underwhelming. There were a couple of games where she was good, but most of the time she allowed me to play one extra card. And she was a 3/5, and like that's nothing to sneeze at, right? And so what she ultimately was really allowing me to do was make sure Werewolf ended up in the right place. I feel like she's overcosted by 1. I feel like as a 2/3 or 2/4, she's a much better card. Okay, so I went 13-3 with this, with an 81% win rate and 37 cubes. That's a 2.3 cube per game. I went from 80 to 90, 73 to 80 in no time with this. I played some bots, without any doubt I played some bots. I don't think I played more than 3 bots. My losses were early retreats for a cube, and my wins were all big. This felt insane. This felt absolutely insane. Does this deck need any changes? Nope, don't think so. If this deck is as good as it seems, it's going to maintain their presence as a force in the meta, period. Like, bar none, no questions asked. This is very, very good, and it goes right over the top of a lot of things. It replays cards. It's doing wonderful things with Hood. I'll tell you, the one card I really, really miss in this deck is Bast, but I'm not running Mysterio, so be it. Everything else is just phenomenal. Just be careful with your Hood, and you're going to have a really good time with it. So turn 1 is meant to be Zabu over Iceman over Forge, or at least for me, that's the way I do it. Because if I don't have Zabu on 2, I like to play the Demon in another 1. So if I need to bounce them, I can bounce them. Turn 2, Zabu is better than 2 1s as a general rule. Turn 3, if you Zabu'd, you drop Werewolf. If not, you drop Zabu in a 1, or you can bounce. Turn 4, Werewolf, or bounce again. Sometimes this is Enchantress. Turn 5, Falcon and Black Swan is better than Beast and Falcon. Cool. That's your main play. You're trying to get one of those 2 off. Turn 6, a bunch of 0-cost Hitmonkey and either Shang or Enchantress. There was one 8 cube where I won, where I played a bunch of 0-cost former 1s, Hitmonkey and Werewolf, and just went off. Fair warning, a reasonable amount of the time if you get Werewolf out early, he gets to 8 to 10 power, and they're going to try and Shang somewhere else because they're going to assume he's going to be somewhere else, right? So at that point, fill up another location with as much power as you can, and then just leave Werewolf where he is and let him win the lane that he was already in. Don't get too smart. All right, this deck is wildly good. Iceman is hilarious. You watch them play a card, and you're like, oh, that's off curve now. We just thought you were curve man. That's off curve now. That would have been a backbreaking card. That would have been a backbreaking play. Now it is not. Forge means you have enough power. If I've gotten up to 3 hoods without Nico in this deck, and if you get 3 demons, then that's 18 power, right? That's a massive amount. 18 is just a ton. So, and you can do that for free, basically, with Black Swan, which is great. Use those demons to block locations so Werewolf doesn't move where you don't want to. Like, I Enchantressed a Khazar and dropped a demon in a lane so that Werewolf wouldn't end up there because I didn't have an extra on reveal to play there. So it kept Werewolf away. Again, that's a really, really common play. And Shang is great, right? You can also, like, if they drop Kara, just Enchantress Kara. If they drop Zabu early, don't be afraid to Enchantress Zabu, etc., etc. It's really good. This deck has play into a lot of different decks. I also beat Destroy. I lost 1 to Destroy, but I beat Destroy multiple other times with this. It could do nothing to this deck, which seems like it's a pretty damn good place to be, considering that this is a deck full of 1-drops and Destroy has Killmonger. Alright, first bundle, Ironheart's well-suited superheroine. This is our whole month bundle. All right, eventually I'm going to buy this, huh? This is great value. It's 221 progress, 1500 gold for 15 bucks is a really solid deal, and it's 1,000 credits, and you're never sad to have 1,000 credits. There's very little reason not to get this. This is every month they release one of these bundles, and they're always great value. Obviously, this is nowhere near. This is like 1/6 the value of a season pass, right? However, it's still great value overall. So if you're going to spend money outside of the season pass, this is where you spend it. Ironheart is a perfectly fine card. This is a really good variant for it, and the progression value is really solid. Less impressive is this Moon Girl thing. 2,500 gold for 2,000 collector's tokens is like 10% better than a Token Tuesday. We could again usually get 25 to 30% better than a Token Tuesday, or at least we used to be able to. We don't know if they're going to give us gold bundles that are that good anymore. They've been sort of inconsistent with gold since they killed data mines, but this is fine, right? Like this is ultimately an okay bundle. If you're the type of person who buys Token Tuesdays and you have the gold for this, then feel free to grab this. I still urge you to just save up further, though. I will not be buying this, despite this Moon Girl being absolutely adorable. All right, so good. Well-suited superheroine is a buy. It's here all month, though, so honestly, take your time. Rocket Power is a skip for almost everyone. All right, this is the number one deck for the season. We've seen this deck before. I've covered this deck before. A major streamer who Spyro is the major streamer I'm thinking of, hit top 20, replacing Spider-Ham with Iceman. Gio and Poggy Bonzi are Italian players who are good friends and who play all the time together, which I think is absolutely hilarious and adorable, and it makes me happy, and I will feature this deck at every opportunity, literally, not even because it's number one, just because that is the cutest thing I've ever heard. I love friendship. People that are good to each other make me happy, and they're both very nice. I've spoken to both of them, and they're both super gracious people. They have some rules that we didn't actually get. They didn't get to give me. So if they do give me these rules about positioning for this deck for locations, I will feature it. But honestly, it's not that hard, and this plays relatively similarly to the other deck, except instead of Hitmonkey, you have Sentry and Annihilus, right? Like, ultimately, it's the same base concept. Early on, if you don't see Werewolf, you can Sentry, and if you Sentry Annihilus, that's probably more power than your Hitmonkey. This is just a really strong deck. Good, good. Okay, so go get Zabu. Zabu is, again, the most important card in Marvel Snap. Please go get Zabu. Iceman can replace Spider-Ham. You lose a little bit, but not too much. And I told you, the number one and number two players think Spider-Ham is better, too. So I feel better because Lambie and Spyro like Iceman better. I'm like, no, but Spider-Ham, because you force them to hold that card in hand if they know you're playing bounce, right? And just like they're missing their curve, they're missing plays because they know they can't play it, or I'm going to remove another card from their hand. All right, this needs Annihilus, it needs Werewolf. Again, Nico can be Iceman, Hawkeye, and I don't hate Maria Hill here. All right, so this deck finished number one and number two. These two best friends finished number one and number two last season. So turn one, Hood over Ham over Forge. Turn two, Zabu over ones. Turn three, Bounce if ones. If Zabu, you decide between Werewolves and Sentry. Sometimes you just drop an Enchantress on their Zabu if you feel like they're a Darkhawk deck and you know that can win the game. Turn four, Bounce the ones or play Werewolf. And generally Werewolf's better than Sentry unless you have Annihilus, or you have but Werewolf is still even better if you have a bunch of zero cost cards in hand. Although at that point you probably play both and just save Annihilus and the zeros for the last turn. Turn 5 is Annihilus, and turn 6 is Move the Wolf and drop Shang or Enchantress as needed. Nice. Nice and simple, right? Zunz, the number 1/number 2, because it's complicated player last season, played this deck and was like, oh, this is the best deck in the game. So, like, this is probably the best deck in Snap right now, and you should play it. We got very, very few hips in this. We've only got our Zabu, Ham, Falcon, Beast, and Annihilus. I guess 5 isn't bad. I remember when 5 was like my top, and now I'm like, oh, 5. But what I want to call attention to is we got a Jacinto party. We got 3. We got Shang, Enchantress, and Sentry. Jacinto is probably my third favorite artist. And also, I bought the Sister Grim Nico. Why did I buy the Sister Grim Nico? I don't know. It was calling to me when I was sitting there looking at it. So I grabbed it, and I'm happy to have it. Cool. We are now on to We Vote Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we vote for a lesser played card to feature in a deck. We covered Man-Thing last Thursday, so if you'd like a really cool Man-Thing deck from the always great Ika, check that out. This week we have 4 cards to choose from. Crystal has been chilling on this list for a while. A bunch of the other decks cycled out. Sorry, God. It's late at night and it's been a day. I'll tell you what the hell is actually going on with my life at the very end, if anyone cares, because it's been a seriously like monstrous day. Um, Crystal, Crossbones, Hazmat, 2099. Those are the four cards you're choosing from. I'm aware that like Hazmat's probably a little better than we usually feature for this, but I don't care. I got a cool Hazmat deck. So I found cool decks from cool creators with all four of these cards. Pick which one in the comments you'd like to see a video for. All right. Shuri Enjoyer, this actually finished rank 4. It was rank 3 when I started writing. Shuri Enjoyer finished rank 4. Shuri Enjoyer is a beast. I also really like Shuri Enjoyer. We chat all the time now. This is Black Knight Nihilus is the number 4 deck. So this is like the other decks. Like I think Bounce is easy to play. I know people are like, I don't know how to play Bounce. Bounce works for my brain. This deck is so hard to play for me. It's really strong. You can feel its power, but it takes some doing. A lot of how it wins is figuring out which you want to play based on the matchup, so you need to know what you're playing. If your opponent drops Zabu or you think they're a Sarah deck, then you need to find time for Mobius, and it will screw up some other parts of your curve sometimes. You really, really, really want to drop whatever card, but sometimes Blade needs to come down because the card is in the right location, right? Do you ever Blade a Nihilus? I mean, if it's turn 3 and a Nihilus is there and you've got Sentry in hand and you've got Ghost Rider, there's worse plays, right? It's not an easy deck. It's really cool, but it's not an easy deck. There's a lot to do. All right, so this needs Black Knight Nihilus and Zabu. Sorry. Did you get that you should get Zabu? I think you probably got that you should get Zabu. Black Knight remains one of my favorite cards in the game. Just so y'all know, this is not about this deck. I got to game 5. I was up 3 cubes to 1 in a Hella Black Knight mirror, and I lost. So just hella variance bullshit. But I flew through 4 games and then I ran out of time and I wasted a bajillion tickets and trophies because life is life. You can try lots of cards for Mobius, Rogue, Enchantress, and Ghost are the main ones I would go with. Shuri Enjoy end of the season ranked 4, not 3, 4. I thought he was going to be 3, but he's 4. Sorry about that again. He's still absolutely phenomenal. One of the best players in Marvel Snap. So turn 1 Black Knight over Hood, generally speaking. Hood is obviously preferred if you think they might be destroyed. You Blade whenever there's a good target, basically over anything. Especially once you have Ghost Rider or Black Knight. Turn 2, Zabu is better than any of your turn 1 plays, as a general rule. Turn 3, Sif, Sentry, or Mobius, obviously pending matchup. If they're a deck that doesn't run a lot of cards and doesn't run Shang-Chi, Sentry is phenomenal. If you have Infinite and Black Knight out, right, then Sif is the best play in the game, possibly. And Mobius is if you think they're doing some cost reduction nonsense. Turn 4 is the same as turn 3, add Shard. Turn 5 is Annihilus, or turn 4, 3, etc. But you can now add Ghost Rider or Shang. If they give you a Shang target, feel free to Shang now. If you can Ghost Rider, feel free to Ghost Rider. And turn 6 is the same as 5, but sometimes you kind of just drop a Magneto because why not? If you drop an Nihilus, please also drop a Demon. This deck is really cool. It's really strong. It's really interesting. The thing you'd actually like to do on the last turn that did not happen a lot when I was playing it, but it should, right, reasonably, is you'd like to Shang and Ghost Rider or Shang and Shard. But for whatever reason, the variance was not in my favor for that. I ended up playing Magneto for some cubes. I played this for a little bit earlier at the end of last season. I ended up getting Magneto for some cubes, and I did a reasonable amount of Annihilus and Demon, which is just a lot of power, by the way. Annihilus and Demon is 12, right? Plus the 10 you're giving, the negative 10 you're giving them. So now we're at 22. And now we're giving them another negative 3, so we're at 25. That's a really strong last turn play. Cool. This deck is great. It's really strong. It's also very hipful. We got Blade, Zabu, Mobius, Sif, Annihilus, Infinite, Magneto, so that's 7. And then we go Jacinto for Ghost Rider, Shang, and both this and the other Sentry are Jacintos, which is kind of awesome. Makes me real happy. So this is a beautiful deck, and Shuri Enjoyer deserves rank 4, and deserves better because he's a really cool person. I'm really happy with the quality of person. I enjoy the people at the top of the tournament scene right now. All right, we're on to our very last segment. Our last full segment of the day is our bundles for the last 2 days. So I did buy the Shang-Chi and Nico. I don't know why I bought the Shang-Chi. I don't usually like nullified variants, but like every time I see a Shang-Chi that I don't buy, I always regret it. So I bought the damn Shang-Chi. I also bought the Nico because I wanted some variety in my Nikos. Um, I don't like the Hellfire Gala Jean. I don't know what Jean I want, but I don't like the Hellfire Gala one. I don't like the Rion Rogue. I have more than enough Galactuses for the rest of my life. I have Lifebringer, Hip, and the Spotlight one, the comic cover. I don't like Red Green Goblins. I have plenty of Thors, and I have both Ghost Rider and what's it called? Steampunk for Quinjet, so I don't need blueprints. I also obviously bought Electra. The second I saw a hip, I bought a hip. That's my standard operating procedure. I don't need any of the rest of these cards. I have hips for Venom, Tribunal, Ghost, Sif, Surfer, and I have like two Vipers, and I have like two other Surfers, and then just who the hell plays Domino? What do I need a Domino variant for? So I'm pretty happy with my haul of variants over the past 2 days. And then I got Luchador Warpath when I filled up my little bar at the top. So womp womp, it's pretty lame. All right, certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. We've got today Models, who is also our Discord moderator. Thanks, Models. Pretty chill. Fothler Newman, who you should subscribe to. Ink, No Flex. Mandatory Burnout, Matt Conduit 23. Seamus, hey Seamus, welcome. Good Dog Gamer, Kierdick Slee, Mikey Hijinks, DG Winfield, Cables, who's been doing a ton of graphics work for us. Props to Cables. Rob Silverman, Matt H, Abigail Gislin, Direwolf, Two Ties, Ocularis, X-Source V, Jane Everett, Spike Jones, Koi Ray, Louis Antunes, JD McDonaldino, and the homie Min. Because all he does is win. Alright. That is our thanks. Thank you so much to our Patreons. Remember, y'all in the tournament. Okay. Closing times, final thoughts. So I'm just going to tell you this now. My dad had surgery on some veins in his neck. There was some blockage earlier today, so it's been a really, really stressful day. The union stuff went completely crazy. So work was like intensely busy. I ended up like working on a billion union things and like nothing went well today. But everything is resolved. My dad is in recovery. He's at the hospital overnight, so as long as nothing goes wrong, he'll be home tomorrow. So keep him in your hearts if you're willing. And yeah, that's where my life is. So the union stuff is all getting resolved. Bunch of competent professionals are all working on things together. You love to see it. So life is good. Life is always complicated, but we go through it together. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow for another Snap Take. As always, peace.